Now, let's think about this. If you'd performed a hit song, how long would you expect to be paid royalties? It's a very hot topic for a growing number of veteran rock musicians because the current copyright law, in their case, only lasts 50 years. Very soon, it'll be crunch time for some of the big artists, the big names of the 50s and 60s, including, by the way, Sir Cliff Richard and the likes of Joe Brown and others. They're now part of a national campaign to get the period extended. With me now is Matt Phillip from the British phonographic industry. Matt, welcome to you. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
And on the line is Joe Brown himself. Joe, we'll be with you in just a second after we've heard a bit of you in your heyday. Let's go for it.
Man, I can't stand no light. I'm a honky-tonk man. I can't.
Great, Joe Brown. Well, we're going to keep you tempted now, viewers, because I'm going to talk to Joe in a minute after Matt will give us a bit of context. Matt, why is this such a big problem?
Well, the problem that we have is in UK copyright law, there are different terms of copyright for different copyrights. And the reason that's a huge problem is that we'll begin to see the artists like Joe Brown losing out on royalties very, very soon, whereas if you wrote the songs, you have a much, much longer term of protection. Now, we have this crazy situation in the UK whereby if you actually were the performer on a song, you have 50 years to earn money from that. But if you are the author, then that term is 70 years after your death. So we're in a situation whereby a work such as, something as mundane as a Chinese takeaway menu, for instance, can earn up to 150 years copyright protection, but something as culturally significant, such as Joe's recordings and also recordings in the future of artists like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, will enter the public domain, and not only will the artist lose the right to earn royalties, but the record companies that provide the investment in new music will also earn the right to earn income from it.
Have you got any chance at all of changing this, or is this just a bit of a waste of time campaign?
No, I think we've got a very good chance. I mean, if you, I wouldn't like to second guess what the Treasury make of this, but they're currently gathering evidence for an inquiry by looking at the recording industry and various other people who will be submitting evidence to this inquiry. What certainly we do know about the government is that James Pennell has identified that he wants to see the UK become a real creative economy, and in order to do that you need strong copyright protection, and extending the term on copyright recordings is the most fundamental important thing in order to achieve that.
Joe, let's bring you in. It's good to have you with us. If this doesn't change, how would it affect you?
Well, first of all, let me say that I don't think it's going to affect me too much anyway, because nobody liked my records anyway. I never sold that many records anyway. But the point is this, you see, I keep asking people this one question, which I can't find an answer to, and that is, who and why did they impose a limit in the first place? I can't understand why there should be any limit on it, and I think personally what they should do is that they should put no limit on it at all. Instead of keep comparing us with the Americans and this, that and the other, put no limit on it at all until someone comes with a valid argument to the contrary, because I don't understand why. But, music is, after all, an art form. People call it an art form. Whether rock and roll's an art form, I don't know. But you see, in the first place, I don't think anybody ever reckoned that it was going to last more than 6 months anyway. And it's turned into a massive industry. And the people that are going to be affected, I think, are the people like Lonnie Donegan's family, who sold millions of records. And who knows with this business, there's some Japanese collector might say, oh, Lonnie Donegan, Ronnie Donegan, never heard of him. Oh, this is a record, and it could sell millions of records. You never know this game, and there's a poor family, they've got nothing to come from it. And musicians, session musicians, like my late wife.
Okay.
Things like that,
Okay.
The old music, listen, Tony Blair plays the guitar, why don't he give a thought for the old musicians?
Well, a very, very quick last word to you, Matt.
Yeah, he's raised a very important point there. The actual copyright law and the term of 50 years dates back to, in fact, believe it or not, 1911, before the recording industry was even conceived. It's now moved on to become the biggest investor in new music. 17% of turnover went into new music last year. That's £200 million. And for that investment to keep going into new artists, we absolutely need to get the term extended.
Okay, Matt and Joe, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Good to talk.